Hey y'all, Unapologetic Marine here. Today this video is going to be on gun laws and why gun laws are racist. Because gun laws truly started from race, dependent on race, made for specifically race. Now where the gun laws came in is before the Civil War ended, states had slave codes that prevented slaves from owning firearms. After President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1873, and after the 13th Amendment to the Constitution abolishing slavery, states persisted in publishing blacks, now freemen, from owning guns under laws redeemed black codes. And so it went from slave codes to black codes. They did so on the bias that blacks were not citizens and that this did not have the same rights, including the right to keep and bear arms, protected in the Second Amendment. Yes, this is a true thing. This is a true thing. I know, some of you, mind blown. Mind blown. This view was specifically viewed by the Supreme Court in its infamous 1857 decision in Dred Scott versus Stanford to uphold slavery. Right? So they wanted to uphold slavery, and they still didn't want blacks, former slaves of the people, not the people, but we'll just call them the ignorant, former slaves of the ignorant, and then they didn't want them to have guns. So they couldn't uprise. That's the whole thing, is they didn't want them to uprise back then, and they don't want us to be able to uprise now. And it's the same party. It's the same party. The United States Congress overrode the most portions of the Black Code by passing the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Right? Civil Rights Act, 14th Amendment, as well as a special report of anti-slavery conference in 1867. So with that, slavery was still abolished. So with all that coming through, and then saying that there's no slaves and slaves have rights and they're American citizens, right? And then with the denunciation of those particular statutes that denied blacks equal rights to firearms, right? They took those statutes away. However, financially neutral disarming through economic means law remain in effect. So what that means is that if you didn't have the money to buy a gun, or if you didn't have so much money, then you couldn't get a gun. You couldn't. Like, they made guns so overpriced that the poor, or the impoverished, or the non-rich couldn't buy guns. After the adoption of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Congress in 1876, most states turned to financially neutral business and transaction taxes on handgun purchases. So that's when the taxes came in for handgun purchases. So with that, with the tax, it made it more expensive to buy a handgun. To buy a handgun. Right? So, so pretty much, like, from what this says and shows, is that gun laws were created, it says it, were created to keep blacks from owning guns. So they couldn't uprise. So I know this video is rough, and I apologize for it being so rough. There's going to be more to come, and I'm going to clean things up. If you like this video, watch out for more, because I'm going to have more stuff coming on gun laws, on education. I just want to bring awareness to what is going on, and that people need to pay attention. Stay frosty.